Hey Ratbags, I'm doing a guide today on food, the ones that you should keep for later, what kind of combinations, basically a starter guide so that you know what to make when you start playing Core Keeper, or if you're having a bit of trouble recognizing which ones do better jobs. Food when cooked gives you extra big massive buffs, so it's definitely always worth cooking it and combining it. But what combinations work best for what occasion? You obviously can't make any of this food without at least having a decent farm set up and running, so make sure you invest in that and you get that up and going as fast as possible. And the seeds will eventually start getting more and more until you get to the point that you do get more seeds with every time you harvest or get a crop. But you should never really pass up the opportunity to grab some of the wild food growing out in the wilderness, taking care of slimes where you can get some seeds, and boxes where you can also get seeds too. So check out the rest of my guides and let's go on with the basics of food in Core Keeper. So let's break it down. Mushrooms, these are going to give you basically health regen. There are other foods that do it, but this is the better one in the early stages. Every time you make something, it's going to give you 4.2 health regen every second for 20 seconds. The actual individual stats may be different depending on your skills, but that is what its main focus is. It'll give you 9 food as well, which is pretty decent. And then when you combine it, you normally get anywhere between 22 and 25 food. The heartberry actually gives you more health regen if you eat it raw, only a tiny percentage. But when you go ahead and craft it with items, you can see you get less health regen than you do with the mushroom. But you do get an extra bonus of 25 max health for 5 minutes. The glow tulips are kind of the most useless in early game, other than giving you a bit more glow. You only get 1 food from eating a raw one, and you get 4 glow for 1 minute. And when you combine it with other foods, it only increases it by an extra minute, although obviously combining it with other foods does mean you're going to get more food out of it. The bomb pepper's even worse. It does give you more food, but actually takes away 11 of your health if you eat it raw. But as soon as you start combining it with stuff, it can give you food from 12 up to 25, depending on what you mix it with. And the main point of using these is for speed. You get a 21% movement speed for 1 minute. Now these stats will change once you get better at cooking. Then we got the carrot, gives you 7 food and 4.1 health. You pretty much use carrot to get extra armor. It give you 23% extra armor for 5 minutes. Then we got the fishes. Orange and blue are probably what you're going to find the most in the early stages, especially close to the core. You get 10 food with the orange, 11 food with the blue, and they both give health regen when you eat them like this. There's 19 different fish, but it depends on location and what type of fishing rod you're using to get some of the more rarer ones. The orange though is going to give you extra mining damage, and the blue is going to give you extra dodge abilities, so you've got a chance of taking less damage against enemies. And then finally, out of the start foods that you'll come across, larvae meat does give you some of the best food. You pretty much get 25 almost across the board when you go ahead and use them. And not only that, you also get critical hit chance as well as health regen. So you get 2 buffs using the larvae meat. So combining it with the right foods means you can have 3 buffs for 1 meal. So mushrooms for health regen, heartberries for maximum health, glow tulips for glowing, bomb peppers for movement speed, carrots for extra armor, orange fish for mining, blue fish for extra dodge chance, and larvae meat critical hit as well as regening your health. So when you're going into combat, you want to have some sort of food that's got the blue cave guppy in it. Larvae meat especially for maybe taking on bosses. You eat mushroom based foods when you're low on health. And you eat heartberry foods when you're again about to go and take on a bunch of enemies. And really use glow and bomb peppers when you're exploring. Although bomb peppers are really good for taking on bosses so you can move around quicker too. And likewise carrots you'll be using when you go up against creatures and enemies too. Just get that extra bit of armor. But there's one more vital thing you need about food. You do need some of them ingredients to go ahead and make some of these potions. So in my opinion, you need to keep as much of the heartberries, the carrot and the larvae meat as possible. So basically make the bomb pepper salad, and that will keep you going with food other than the cave bread that you find. As the 3 other main ingredients that you'll find, these are definitely much more preferred to keep for some of this stuff. You might not unlock the alchemy table obviously until you get a bit more advanced, but it's still worth stockpiling some of these foods so you can go ahead and make the stone skin one and the healing potion, which will give you extra health or of course armor. You do use bomb peppers for bombs, but I would still focus on potions. With the bonuses that you get from fish, I wouldn't necessarily be eating them just to regain your food. You do kind of want to save any kind of recipes with them in it for a specific use, like getting that extra mining damage to explore Don't underestimate cooking as well as gardening, as they can both give you some really powerful buffs and give you unique properties for your weapons later on in the game when you get to the more advanced talents. The larvae meat might be the hardest one to actually go ahead and get reliably, so you can create your own farms. You just need to put some spike traps inside a box filled with the chrysalis floor, and lots of these guys will start spawning. Hopefully they will be running over the spikes, and that will do the job. But that does require quite a big amount of tin, so I'm not going to go too heavy in this video, but I will show you some more advanced farming guides later on. But yeah, if you do manage to pick up a few, or you've made a couple, then absolutely chuck them in a box or a room with either some slime flooring or the chrysalis flooring, and hopefully you'll start generating some of these mobs so that you can get their meats. I would also focus on the larvae as well instead of the slimes, as you probably have a big surplus of slimes until later when you start combining to use them to make bombs and more potions. And there we go, that's the basics of food. Hopefully that's helped. If it has, leave a like, check out the rest of my Core Keeper content, and I'll see you rat bags later. Bye bye.